I'm going to tell you the three best ways that I invested in myself, which helped me to earn more money. And it's not what you think. Welcome to Finish First Financially. I'm Goran Radanovic. Let's get into it immediately. The first one is public speaking. This is a communications is an important skill to have for pretty much everybody, regardless of what industry you're in. You need to be able to communicate effectively with potential clients to show them what products or services you're offering and to do it in a manner that's convincing, that shows them you know what you're talking about, you're certain in yourself, you're confident that this is the best deal for them. And the way to communicate with people is not by being timid or uncertain in yourself. They're just not going to believe that you even believe in what you're offering is good for them. So public speaking, being, standing up in front of people, doing these presentations, even just talking one-on-one, it's a skill that one acquires over a certain period of time through practice. I was terrified of public speaking. I just had all of these insecurities inside of me. And I thought if I stood up in front of people that they would be able to see them, they would judge me for them, and I'll just feel terrible. And for many years, I just kind of ignored this problem and I thought that I could get by it, get by life and everything would be fine. But I saw that it wasn't working. So I made a commitment in 2012, I think it was, for New Year's, as a New Year's resolution, that I was going to overcome this fear. And I joined a Toastmasters club, went to a meeting, and there's this portion of the program where they select people to come up and they give them a topic to speak off the cuff. And the lady that was in charge of that picked me. I was kind of like looking down, like, no, I don't want to do that. And she saw that I was shy and then went to go and pick somebody else. And this was also a new person that had just joined that went up and started speaking. And I thought, well, why am I here? If I came and I'm so certain that I want to overcome this fear, why didn't I go up on stage? And I decided to do it. And I think my topic was something like romance. And I started talking and I was so uncertain of myself. Like I was even sweating a bit and just my voice cracked. And I said, oh, I'm so nervous. And I walked off the stage. And when you get like a pity applause, they feel sorry for you, so they clap. I just felt terrible after that. But I thought I'm not going to overcome this fear or pretty much overcome any other fear if I just stop right at the beginning, at the first hurdle. And for the follow-up meeting, I came back. As soon as I walked into the venue, they came up to me, the members, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you came back. So that showed me that my performance was really bad. But at least I had the courage to confront my fear again. And I got so obsessed with this skill, trying to communicate with people and overcoming all of these fears inside of me. And I knew public speaking was going to help that I eventually came to all of their meetings and I even joined other clubs just to expedite the process of building confidence, of standing up to people, looking them in the eyes, speaking confidently, having confident body language. And it definitely helped through the months and even years that I now practice the skill. And eventually what happened, once I had become so confident speaking to people, all of these opportunities now to earn an income availed themselves. I got an offer to become a lecturer at one of the best universities in South Africa, which I took. It was a great offer. It enabled me to lecture third-year accounting students after my full-time job. So it was in the evenings. I thought, well, great, I can now speak. I was making money from that. Then I published my book and I organized people. I invited them to my book launch. So I stood up in front of people and I presented my book. And all of this confidence, all of these avenues opened up for me once I got over my fear of public speaking. And it was such a big realization for me. I thought, now that I've gotten over this fear, What I've been afraid of has actually kept me away from earning money. The second way I invested in myself was by learning new skills. And this has actually happened to me quite a few times in my career since I graduated in 2008. Once I got my degree in 2008 in finance, I began working in corporate finance. And about 6 years into this career, I decided that this wasn't for me. I need to be in my own business. So I quit the job and I decided I was going to open up a restaurant or a nightclub. I wasn't sure at the time, but I wanted experience in the hospitality industry. And I started at the bottom. I worked as a barman. I was making a lot less money than what I was in corporate finance, and the work was much more tough. But I stuck it out. I wanted to learn. I wanted to gain all of this knowledge from this industry, and I knew that I had to work my way up. And then once I worked as a barman, I became a manager, got promoted. I worked in different places, in different restaurants, different nightclubs. So I got experience from all perspectives. And after I felt that I had enough knowledge, enough experience, I went on to open my own nightclub because I had all of this knowledge and all of this experience. And after the nightclub, I wanted to go back into writing. I became a freelance writer, and I'd worked as a freelance writer for several years, but I also wanted to supplement my income. So while working as a freelance writer, I started looking into vending machines. I thought it would be cool, as a side business, like a side hustle where it's kind of passive, but there's still work. And in order for me to learn these vending machines, I went and found employment in this industry. I worked for a company that provided vending machines to people. And I did that so I could see, what could go wrong with these machines. I need to know how to fix them. What are the problems that can come up? How do I find locations? And all of these things I learned while being paid on the job. And that was one of the greatest things that I think I ever did. So before I went all into this one industry, I kind of did it on the side. I had this job in that industry, and I learned all of this knowledge, gained all of these skills. And after that, I went on to open up my own vending machine business. I had my vending machines at locations. And one of the great things about having various skills in different industries is that, especially if it's in different industries, I think that's so valuable, is because if you have a full-time job in one industry and a part-time job in another industry, if this industry now becomes obsolete or there's less work in it, you can naturally transition to the other industry, and it just becomes like a normal process where you go from this industry that's no longer providing you the income that you want to another industry because you've already got the skill set, and the transition is just really smooth. It's not going to completely ruin your life if now this income stops. You scramble if you don't have another skill set, but because you already do, you can make that change, and it could even lead to a better path for you. The third way that I invested in myself is practicing the mantra: it's not about how much you make, but about how much you keep. And this is really about personal finances. That's what it comes down to. It's the most important lesson that I ever learned in personal finance. We've seen people who are making six figures a year in America, making more than $100,000 a year, still living paycheck to paycheck. And if you're making $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month, and you think, if I can just make $10,000 a month, then all of my problems will be solved. Well, that's what I used to think as well. If I just made a bit more, then everything would be fine. I wouldn't be living paycheck to paycheck. The problem is that once you earn that additional amount, if you're a spender, you're always going to find a way to spend that additional amount because you haven't conditioned yourself to save. So I always say you're either a saver or you're a spender. Savers, as soon as they earn additional amounts, the first thing that they think is, how can I save this? How can I invest it? so that it earns me more money and I can enjoy that at a future date. Whereas spenders think, oh, great, I've got this additional money, let me just spend it. They're always looking for ways to spend that additional amount, which brings them back to square one, living paycheck to paycheck. So the solution isn't about just increasing your income if you haven't really built a good foundation for yourself. And the foundation is to try to reduce your expenses as much as possible so that you're living on only on those expenses that you really need, so that you've got as much money to dedicate to debt as possible. Once you're debt free, you're growing your savings. And if in most instances, if you do that, you condition yourself to become a saver, then obviously once you start earning more, you immediately think, okay, so additional amount, how am I going to use that to save and to invest so that it grows me even more money? And that's a very, very powerful mindset to be in. It's definitely helped me once I adopted the minimalist lifestyle, helped me to get out of debts. I expedited that process, and then once I didn't have any debt, my savings ballooned, and it just led to a better quality of life. I no longer desired all of these things that I didn't need. So thinking about how much money can I save at the end of the month is much more important than how much can I make, because that additional amount that you're going to make does not necessarily translate to having more savings. So those are the three things that help me to improve my income, also help me to grow my character as well. And if you need help to improve your finances, go into finishfirstfinancially.com. On the consulting tab, you can book a free call with me so that we can discuss your financial situation and to put you on the path to financial prosperity.